Jeff Fischel here on the ACC Digital Network with a spring football update. Let's talk the Louisville Cardinals. Yes, the new members of the ACC. Let's get some great inside info from Mark Ennis from 680 ESPN and Louisville, and of course a writer for Card Chronicle as well. And Mark, thank you for joining us. Give me your thoughts after the big spring football game for the Cardinals.
Well, I think people got a lot of what they were hoping to see, and that was Bobby Petrino's offense. There's a lot of people around here that still remember his 4 years from his first stint here as the head coach, and if there was anything that characterized that stint, it was offense. And I think Friday night people got a lot of down-the-field throws, really aggressive play calling, and Will Gardner looked good throwing the football. So I think if nothing else happened at the spring game, getting to see that, people left pretty excited.
Sure, Teddy Bridgewater, of course, was great. Will Gardner steps right in and throws for 542 yards in the spring game. So clearly Petrino's not going to back away from the passing game.
No, and I think that the nice thing for Will Gardner is, although he is stepping in and following in some pretty big footsteps, he's got a lot to work with. The wide receiver core with Devontae Parker and James Quick and Eli Rogers, a lot of guys that have played a lot, produced a lot. Tight end Gerald Christian, good running backs. He's going to return 4 starting offensive linemen. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better situation for a guy to step in and be a new starter than what he got. And I think he showed a lot of comfort with the offense, showed a big arm. I don't think people really got very many opportunities to see him really sort of unleash it and really throw it last year in mop-up duty, but to see him do that was pretty encouraging.
You mentioned the running backs, L.J. Scott there. Michael Dyer, a name fans should be familiar with. Of course, he ran for a lot of yards at Auburn. Now at Louisville, how does he look?
He looked better than he has looked at any point in his time here at Louisville. Last year, he sort of had been out of football for a year, and then midway through the year suffered an injury, had surgery in the offseason, but is back to full strength, and he looked extremely quick. He looked much quicker than he did really at any point prior in the spring game on Friday. And now Louisville's really got 3 running backs that they feel really good about with Dyer, and you mentioned L.J. Scott, the freshman who enrolled early, and Dominique Brown, who's been around here for 3 years now. They've got 3 good running backs, and Petrino has typically done that, kind of platoon backs and saved mileage off of his backs. So I think you'll see all 3 of those guys a lot next year.
Now, the offense did so much in the spring game. Does that say anything about the defense?
Yeah, that's the funny part about spring games is everything that you produce, that's awesome. You did it against yourself, so somebody was getting beat. It was 1s versus 2s in the spring game, so you can still be excited about the 1s and what they did. Look, you had a new defensive coordinator, a lot of new guys. They lost a number of senior starters off the defense. I think people were pretty excited about the linebackers. There's a lot of really good young talent there. The big question, I think, is the safety position. Charlie Strong, in 3 out of 4 years, he had the same 2 guys playing safety. He had Hakeem Smith and Calvin Pryor basically every year that he was here. And for those guys to be gone, they allowed him to do a lot, take a lot of chances, be very aggressive, and to be breaking in new guys at that position. They did get beat here and there. I think some confusion about their responsibilities and that sort of thing. So that's going to be an area to watch, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to bring in a guy maybe over the summer to add some depth there. That's the big question. I think they really like the front 7, really concerned about the safeties.
Now, of course, Charlie Strong's teams were known for defense. What's the transition been like overall for the football program now with Bobby Petrino returning?
Yeah, it's gone better than I expected. And I think that Tom Jurich, the athletic director, his biggest concern was when we hire somebody to replace Charlie Strong, who was such a big person and personality in the locker room, it's got to be somebody that can command their respect. And while Bobby Petrino, obviously, personally, sort of the things that he's infamous for now, at least in terms of being a football coach, he has the respect of the players. And I was a bit surprised, positively so, that the players are basically like, look, this guy knows football. And the reception and sort of the transition from Charlie to Bobby, I think it's gone pretty well. There really hasn't been personnel turnover, a bunch of guys wash out and transfer, that sort of thing. It seems like he's had pretty good buy-in so far. So that's a good sign, I think, heading into the fall.
We all know about Bobby Petrino off the field, the issues that have come up. But of the fans, the alumni, have they embraced his return?
I think for the most part, yeah. And I think, like I mentioned in the first question, the big thing is people remember, they have actual memories of what it was like for him to be the head coach at Louisville, and it went well. And Bobby Petrino was pretty vital in Louisville getting into the Big East in the first place in the way that they played. and the 4 years he was here were four of the most productive in terms of wins and offense and points and that sort of thing. And people were afraid to play Louisville, and they won a lot, and people remember that. So I think the fans really, they know about what happened off the field, but really ultimately they're just fans of a team, and they know what it's like for Bobby to be the head coach. And so I think people, for the most part, have been pretty positive and embraced him pretty well.
All right, Mark, one last thing, a one-word answer. Year one in the ACC, how many wins total for the Louisville Cardinals?
I think they're going to win 9 games, and I think the Florida State Clemson, that's going to be tough. But I think Louisville could win 9 games.
All right, fair enough. It is a tough entrance right into the ACC to head into that Atlantic Division. Mark Ennis from 680 ESPN in Louisville and Card Chronicle. Really appreciate it. Great talking to you on this spring football update on the ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.